Rock Garden's got you rattled? Well, we hear you, which is why in this video we're going to teach you how to create flow out of rough sections just like this. And stick around for the end of the video for some pro tips. Welcome back to Joy a Bike. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chase, and we are stoked to get you ripping down technical trails with more confidence. To do so, we're going to need a few things, like your helmet,
Your favorite local technical trail,
and your bike of choice. And I want to call this out right now. You can have just as much fun on rock gardens no matter what bike you're on. In fact, today I brought my enduro bike, but Mike decided to bring his hardtail for this ride. And I've actually ridden this exact same trail on my rigid drop bar gravel bike, and I had a blast doing so.
And I know it's hard to believe, but contrary to the marketing we see oftentimes in the bike world, it's not necessarily about the bike that we're on, but it's about the skills that we possess. In fact, we've talked a lot about riding BMX bikes down this specific trail recently. So if that's something you guys want to see, let us know down in the comments, because I think it'd be really fun.
To keep things simple, we're going to break today's video into 3 parts. Part 1 is all about body position. Part 2 will cover line choice, and Part 3 is bringing it all together in a session. Let's start by talking about body position. Just like any other skill on a bike, the key to this is to stay centered over the bike with most of our weight on our feet. This keeps our center of gravity low but malleable, allowing for consistency and flexibility as the trail moves our bike under us. If our weight is too far forward, it can feel like we are pushing on the handlebars. This can lead to issues like stuffing your front wheel into a hole, causing you to flip over the bars, or general fatigue in your arms after a long bumpy section. If our weight is too far back, it can feel like we are pulling on our handlebars. When we do this, we lose a lot of our steering control, and we end up sticking ourselves in a riding position that is very difficult to move from. A centered riding position allows for a few different things as we navigate the rock garden. First, it allows our bike to rotate around the pivot point created by our bottom bracket. Essentially, the front and back wheel are going to rise and fall in response to the terrain underneath them. Our goal is to let that happen as naturally as possible while keeping our head and shoulders moving down the trail as smoothly as possible. Light hands and a centered riding position allow for this movement in a way that leaning too far forward or backward cannot. Ideally, we do not want our head and torso to be moving up and down. We want these to stay steady as our arms and legs are doing all of that work underneath us.
As you're standing here talking about this, you know what it really makes me think of?
What?
Have you ever seen a Baja truck blasting through the desert? The cool thing to notice with those things is the body of the truck, or in our case, our torso, it's staying level or steady with the ground while the wheels are connected to the whoops delivering power. What's making that happen is the suspension that's going up and down, similar to what our arms and legs are doing. This is exactly how we want to attack a rock garden.
That's a really cool visual comparison. And to build off of Mike's point, our torso on average makes up 55% of our body mass, while our head makes up another 8%. So if we can keep this 63% of our body mass steady, while our arms, legs, and bike handle all of the messiness happening underneath us, this is going to make rock gardens a heck of a lot smoother. The second reason for a centered riding position is that it is adaptive. It keeps us in the best place to engage muscles to make quick adjustments in response to the terrain. Now, it's important to remember that in order to reap the benefits from this centered position, our arms and legs must stay bent and active. Most mistakes happen when we're riding stiff, and it's because we're not letting our arms, legs, or bike do their job underneath us.
This reminds me of a quote that our friend Dave Chase over at Redstone Cyclery in Lyons always says, and it's that your bike doesn't want to fall. And he's absolutely right. Oftentimes, our bikes are more than capable of riding down technical sections. It's us that's the limiting factor. And the reason for that is because we're riding stiff, not compliant, and unadaptive.
So the key takeaway from part 1 is this: stay centered on the bike and fluid on the terrain.
Now let's talk about line choice. Now the best place to start generally is with the path of least resistance. But here's the thing, there are often many different lines possible through a rock garden. The main line or the path that looks the most worn in might not always be the best route to take. Don't be afraid to explore other options. Line choice and speed go hand in hand. You don't want to go blasting into a rock garden sight unseen because that's a recipe for disaster. Now, as you start getting more comfortable on your bike or on a specific section, you can start approaching it at faster speeds. In fact, sometimes this unlocks different routes or lines that you didn't even notice before. I think we can all agree that going fast is a lot of fun, but remember, speed should never outweigh skill. If you begin to feel out of control or start to lose your line, slow it down. Focus on staying smooth and speed will come naturally as your skills improve. Now, something that always bugs me personally about a lot of tutorials on this subject is they're always talking about the fastest line. Now, here's the thing, we're not racing. We should be focusing on the line that is the most fun. And oftentimes when we're having fun, we end up going a lot faster. And to build on that, riding your bike should always be fun. As I just said, as you're focusing on fun, speed will come naturally, but so will skills. When you look at some of the best bike riders in the world, they didn't just get there by focusing on how fast they can go or how big they can jump. They spent a lot of time sessioning and having fun in the woods or at the park with their friends. And I know it sounds cliche and it just takes me back to being a kid playing like t-ball or baseball, but if we're not having fun, then why are we out here even doing this? So as you ride tricky sections like this more and more, keep your eye out for alternative lines that may challenge you. As you experiment and learn different lines on the trail, the more fun you're going to have. And speaking of experimenting, now is the perfect time to experiment with switching up your morning routine by buying a bag of Traction Coffee. When you support Traction Coffee, which is a rider-owned business, all the money goes back into creating videos just like this. And for a limited time, you can save 30% on your first order by visiting the episode description down below or scanning the QR code here on your screen.
In your world, fun is the currency of effort. Enjoy pure, all-natural fuel to keep you moving forward, no matter the task. For the doers, the fun havers, the all-around go-getters, fuel your fun with Traction Coffee.
Our first pro tip, keep your eyes up. One of the biggest mistakes that we can make with this type of riding is staring down at the rocks right under our front wheel. So look ahead and make sure that you look at where you want to go and not where you don't. This will help you stay smooth and increase your reaction time to changes in the terrain. If you're looking to build speed through rough sections of trail, keep an eye out for opportunities to pump off the backsides of rocks or roots. These little bursts of momentum can generate big results over time, and they're essentially free speed. Speaking of free speed, we have a whole video detailing how to pump right here on the channel. So if that's something that you're struggling with, click the link in the video description below after this video and we'll see you over there. And our last tip is all about your mental attitude. Riding rock gardens can be very tricky, but it all starts in your head. Keep in mind that your body follows your mind. So if you approach a tough section with confidence, you're going to yield much better results.
Now it's time to put our new skills to work by sessioning the rock garden. Repetition is the best way to build confidence. And remember, our work here is never done. So sessioning is the key to success. When it comes to sessioning, start small. You don't need to clear the entire section. You can break it up into little bits and work little by little. In fact, if you're coming into a section and it looks too intimidating, don't be afraid to walk it a few times to figure out what line is best for you. As you begin to conquer the section of trail that you identified for your session, don't stop there. Repetition is what's going to help you build muscle memory that will ultimately help you unlock the ultimate flow state through technical sections of the trail that you once thought were impossible. Once you feel like you've mastered that section of trail and you can almost do it with your eyes closed, this is where it gets really fun. Start playing around with different lines and figure out which ones give you the most joy. And this piece of riding can be and should be completely unique to you. In fact, one of my favorite things about riding bikes is the absolute freedom that comes along with it. We unfortunately sometimes get stuck in this rigid belief that we should ride like somebody else, and that's just not the case. As you begin to find your flow and start identifying lines that feel smooth to you, build on that. The more you session, the smoother you'll be. Pairing correct form and patience is a recipe for success, and it will have you flowing through any rock garden like it's second nature before you know it. The result of this is what's going to help you fully experience your own Joyride. But speaking of that, that's next on our list, so let's go.
Now it's your turn. Find a technical section of trail and get out there to challenge yourself and work towards unlocking your ultimate joyride.
And with that being said, if you guys have any questions about this particular skill, or if you'd like to see us cover any other mountain bike related skills, let us know down in the comments below. Flowing through technical sections of trail is absolutely euphoric when it becomes second nature. So take your time and enjoy the ride. You've got this. If you enjoyed this video, cruise down and hit the like button so other people just like you can see it as well. Let us know what your local trail is with a technical rock section that you're looking to climb in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to ring that notification bell. As always, thank you guys so much for riding with us. We absolutely appreciate the heck out of you, and we're so stoked you're a part of the family. Stay rad.
Whoa, before we get out of here, we have a ton of other awesome tutorials already on the channel, like how to pump and how to corner. So click on one of those because we would love to see you over there. Till next time, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next Joyride.